All right, welcome back, Rage Nation. We got some more painting that we are going to do today. So, what we're doing is a couple different models, and we got lots of different things going on. But I'll at least kind of give you guys the skinny of it. Let me just kind of get set up here. We don't want the paint potty. We don't want that. And let me just pull up the old Facebook. That way, if we have anybody wanting to chat on that, they can. Take just a second here. I got the things in front of me, and then I also have Lorsan for Godtear that I am going to start here in a second. What is this? Just take me 1 second, guys. Thanks for being patient. YouTube. Do. Okay, and let's go ahead and share the link. Copy. And then let me post on mine. There we go. And post that. Cool. And final round game shop. There we go. Mute that. All right, cool. So we got that up just in case people want to kind of follow along in the chats. You guys can share. Just move that over so I got both of them in view. All right, so a couple things that we're painting up today. We'll move my cup over there. So the things that you guys see in front of me are we have these plague marines that we are going to continue to work on. We're actually going to put some purple on them first, then we'll give them a wash, and then we'll kind of go from there. And then something I painted up that turned out really cool is this Rangosh model. And you can see the detail on him is phenomenal. We actually finished him up. But the thing that I need to work on, I'm going to just put him aside, are his followers. So we have like his banner, and we have these followers, the red bandits. So we're going to finish those up as well. And then if we get them done pretty quickly, I'll pull up a model that you guys can check out, another God-tier champion. But we have Lorsan, who is an elf bowman, which I got a really cool paint scheme in mind for her. So we'll do that once we kind of get these other models painted up. So we'll just go ahead and, like I said, I'm going to put some purple on these plague marines. And we'll go ahead and start off with this kind of oozing purple. And then we'll kind of go from there. So hopefully everybody's doing all right. It's been a really crazy week. That's why I haven't streamed in quite a while. Probably been at least 5 days, I think, since we last streamed. All right, Sticky Bandits, you go over here. And then I do have that. Cool. And we'll just get all these like tentacles and things painted up. Sorry. This is why it's taking a minute, just because crap, I don't want you. There we go. Taking a minute for painting just because I haven't even been able to paint for a while. Just because with everything going on at home, as well as obviously some of these world events. So good to be on, good to be streaming again. We did record an episode again today, so we'll have another God tier episode coming out here soon. All right. So we're kind of painting the purple on a lot of these tentacle things just because it's going to pop and look good against a lot of the screen. And anytime we see these little tentacle things, we're just going to throw in some purple. And then the wash will just kind of take care of it, and then we'll highlight it. Yeah, but these Nurgle models are really cool. This is what almost got me back into 40K for sure. All right, good. Any other weird tentacles? Don't think so. Okay. All right. I feel like oh, that's because I got this damn coffee cup over here. Let's put that there. It's like, why? I was sitting here wondering, it's like, why do I feel cramped? And then I was like, oh, I got a coffee cup over here kind of taking up my space. Let's see here. There we go. Now we can get into a kind of groove here. Yeah, that definitely feels better. When you kind of get into painting, you got to kind of keep your area. It doesn't need to be like super clean, but like that was kind of driving me nuts. Where I'm like, why do I feel this way? Got to get comfortable into a groove. Hey, Chris Leopard. I'm going to be painting some Godtear stuff here too. Slowly expanding that group of the Godtear. Disappointed, Chris, that you didn't win your Twilight Imperium game. That you could have took up the mantle and won it when I left. Yep. I would say, you end up buying anything, Chris, at the store, or do you just kind of go poke around a bit? I don't know if you're going in there to actually pick up some God-tier stuff or not. That's good. That's good. All right, then I'll let you write home there. Tentacle-wise, I think in that in the Twilight Imperium game, I believe Clay ended up winning. I think it came down to what happened in the agenda, and I think Clay ended up taking it just because he had the cards, and I think Nick couldn't quite get the big planet in the center. So I think that won him the day. Oh, Sneaky Pete is so good. Sneaky Pete's one of my favorite champions. He does a lot of really cool, unique things, a lot of shenanigans that he can do. Let's see here. Let's make this purple as well in the plasma. Yeah, I'll show you one of the ones that I've been working on here in a second after I get this purple done with these models. Because I've been painting up Rangosh, and he's really cool. I'm really glad I started painting his him and his followers, because he just looks cool. I think that he'll attract a lot of attention to the game. So when we can start playing in Jacob's store again, which should be pretty soon here, I think he's talking about trying to open it back up soon. But Rangosh is one of those models where when he's on the table, people are like, "Whoa, what is that? That's a cool model." Even so much more when he's painted. Okay, I think that's good there. All right, so for Chris and the other people that kind of came in, this is what I've been working on with Ringosh. And he's just kind of really a filthy looking model, really starting to, he really came out good. So we're really happy with the way he came out. Okay, do I need anything else there? I think I can just wash those in a minute. I might do something else, but they're pretty good. So we're gonna kind of work on, now that we got the base colors on those, we'll wash them here in a minute once they dry. But I'm gonna work on these guys. Rangosh's followers. Let's get this red. So we're going bright because Rangosh is bright red and orange, so we're going bright red and orange with the followers too. Let's use this bigger brush. Yeah, I was talking about, so the way Jacob is going to kind of slowly open it back up for his store, and I hope a lot of stores are being as cautious as he is, because I mean, he's not taking anything lightly, which I definitely appreciate. Some other stores around the United States are just kind of opening willy-nilly, depending on their state. But Jacob's going to do it where basically on certain days you can only play certain games, and you have to wear masks, and he's obviously limiting his play space too. So, which I think is great. I think that's really responsible of him, especially when he sees some of his local competitors where they're just like, F it, I'm just opening up. So that's why I like going to that store, just because I know he respects his clientele. Yeah, that's kind of what Jacob is thinking. He's like, I don't want to just open up, have disease spread rampant, and then just have to lock it back down again. So definitely responsible, which I appreciate. He's been really cautious, because I think he's like a lot of people where, he has family, and that if it starts kind of getting too crazy and he brings home, any part of that coronavirus, that's kind of like, it can be game over for some of his family members. And a lot of people are like that, just because we're living in a day and age where medicine allows people to live with a lot of health problems. And that's great, but when we have these kind of situations pop up, it's really terrifying for a lot of people who have family members with health defects and, pre-existing conditions and all sorts of stuff. So, all right, I think we're just going to leave the banner kind of simple like that. Just a cool kind of fading red banner, and we'll highlight it up with orange too, nice smooth transition. Yeah, and that's one of the things I like. I definitely feel, because I've had to work at home now, which I've never had to do, because I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. So I just never been in that position, and now that I've been in it, I really can appreciate those people that do, because I'm like, this is a lot of work. It's more work than I thought it would be to work from home. And I do like going out and gaming with friends, so this definitely has been a changing experience for me for sure. Definitely appreciate things a lot more. Like, even just a simple, like, hey, I'm going to the store tonight for a game. Like, that was something I really honestly miss. So we're just going back and we're hitting all the red on these models. All right, Chris, have yourself a good night. We'll try to get some games in. Yeah, I see the benefits of working there. I think honestly though, for me, I think the tough thing about working from home, it's got to be a big psychological challenge. Just because, I mean, you have to motivate yourself, right? You have to motivate to get out of bed. You got to motivate how much work am I going to do from home? Because I found sometimes I had a tough time doing as much work. And then I had the opposite times where I was doing too much work. Like I was actually going over how much time they wanted us to work because I was trying to get stuff done. And it's hard to separate work and play sometimes. All right. The red bandits, or as I'm starting to call them, the sticky bandits. Yeah, I was gonna say that's been the challenging thing for me is just butting into family too much. My son having to try and get him to do his work while I'm also supposed to be teaching my students, right? So yeah, it. I imagine that if you don't have all those issues, it can make working at home a little easier for sure. Like some of my friends who are like single, they've been kind of enjoying themselves a little bit. I mean, they get bored, but at least, they're like, well, at least I don't have people I'm button heads with, and, I'm just kind of doing my own thing. Red Bandits. Got so many followers. Yeah, home office would help. Just lock the door and be like, you're not coming in. Stay out of my room. Yeah, these Godtear models are really cool. That's one of the things where I'm like, oh, I'm going to paint these just because they're cool. And then I played the game and I'm like, okay, the game's really cool. Now I got to get all these champions. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of. I don't do so much Twitch. I did get a lot of my streaming done on YouTube. That's where I watch a lot of my content for the various games that I have and consume and watch. That being said, obviously I stream on YouTube, so I've been doing that a lot more. And yeah, it's been really good. Definitely, definitely consuming more online content, and then obviously creating more online content too, as you see in front of us. Which is good because I've gotten more comfortable with it, so I can just do this now whenever. And like when I play a game with Chris, or anybody else, I could just be like, "Hey, you want to stream it? You want to, put this on the old internet for people to judge and watch us?" I say, what kind of games do you play, Herbert? What kind of are you in tabletop games? I don't know if you're on to just computer games. What kind of retro games are we talking about here? Are we talking about like old retro games, like we talking about Mario or Atari? Where's that orange? I swear I just had it. Did I not put the orange over here? Hmm. That's kind of gonna piss me off a little bit. Sweet man, NES is kind of like my bread and butter as far as gaming goes. All right, I'm gonna put this wash on these models since I can't find the orange at this second. So we're gonna put the old red bandit aside. We're gonna put a wash on these guys. So I'm gonna kind of show this just because for people that come back and watch this on YouTube, or also people like Herbert who's kind of checking it out on the stream. So this is kind of like without any wash. And now we're just going to go back and we're just going to put a black wash on them. I could put a brown wash on some of these parts, but I'm just going to kind of forego that on these models. I would say I was a Nintendo kid, so I was all about the different Nintendo games, for sure. See, now I was talking to Jacob about this. I've never gotten into Zelda, even though I think I would like the storyline a lot. But Zelda was one of the ones that just for some reason my parents never bought me. So I just never got into. But like I said, I think if I went back in time and actually played them, I think I would like the Zeldas a lot. And if I had a Switch, I think I would still give the new one a try. But obviously, I don't have a Switch, and I'm not gonna. We actually got really close to buying a Switch, but then we couldn't find any during this whole pandemic thing. So, yeah, the storylines have always been interesting in Zelda, even though I've never been able to play it. I mean, you don't get a cult following. It's not even a cult following. You don't get a following that big if your game is not good. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the Switch, I have heard nothing bad about that console. And the games are good. They're friendly for families, which I'm always a component of now that obviously, I have a son. So because yeah, I used to be big into like Mario Kart. Used to be a big game. I played a lot of N64 too. So like 007 was a game I spent a ton of time with my friends on. So a lot of games like that. Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros is a big one that I like playing. Like I would still like if we had a Nintendo, I would still totally play Super Smash Bros. That game was amazing. Even the first one that came out, the old school one on Nintendo 64, was really good. I used to play Kirby and just eat people, copy them. Okay, I think we're good there. I don't know. I've been kind of waiting for a game that kind of speaks to me a little bit. I honestly, there's a lot of games I don't play because my son kind of consumes a lot of the PlayStation time. But there's a lot of like some of the new Assassin's Creeds and God of War is another one I would like to pick up and play again. It's hard though when you got a son that you don't want to play that kind of stuff in front of him. He's only like 11. All right, so we're just kind of putting a wash on this. Like I said, black washes are really good for stuff like this where you can kind of just let it kind of get into the model. You can let it build and kind of pull the detail out. So that's kind of what we're doing right now is we're just using the wash to kind of pull out some of this detail. Even the rust effect I did on this, I'm just letting the wash really kind of work through it. Because that's the cool thing about models like this Games Workshop stuff. You don't have to create any of the detail just because it's already in the sculpt. So you really just let the paints kind of do their job, like this wash, and it pulls a lot of that out, a lot of these rivets and dents and damage on the armor. Yeah, so I'm going to paint it for about an hour, and we'll see how far we get on both of these. And then, like I said, if I get to a point where I'm done with this, I'm putting the wash on this, and then I'll finish it up tomorrow. But mainly the followers, if I finish those up for Rengosh, then I'll go ahead and start Lorsan, which I'm going to do in this kind of autumn kind of theme and colors. It's something I used to paint druids in for Circle of Orboros and War Machine. So it's a really cool paint scheme I've done before. So I already got a good idea of what it's going to look like. I even got some leaves that I can put on the bases, and that'll look really cool too. All right, I think we're good with this guy. All right, maybe. Okay, cool. Let's call him. Done there. Oops, let's get this stuff. Okay. Yeah, when you have this much detail on the models, it really does take some time to wash them. Just because you gotta kind of just go through it all. You gotta let the wash settle in a lot of these recesses to pull out the detail. I would say so, Herbert. You kind of you do any tabletop or any board gaming, or you just kind of like, oh man, this painting thing's kind of cool. I just feel like hanging out with somebody. Just stumbled upon it on Jacob's page that I usually stream on, but like I said, just with everything going on, it's been challenging to get the motivation to do it, and challenging to just have just when family and world stuff pop up like that, it's just kind of tough to be justifiably like I got to get on and stream. So I really appreciate like anybody that can stream through some of this hardship stuff. I definitely appreciate their struggle because it's tough to do it. Streaming's kind of a job, and you don't get paid for it unless you're full time and really doing some good, crazy content that people are consuming. Yeah, appreciate it. I always enjoy, and that's the thing that I tell people. The goal for this is obviously to gain some foot traffic for Jacob, but then the goal is also just to kind of, get people to interact online, share some gaming experience because I mean we're all nerds. We all play a lot of the same stuff. It might not be all the same, but like we can relate to old school games, like you and I were talking about. Plus, I've painted like this on stream, and then I know a couple people told me like, "Oh yeah, man, I saw you on stream, and I wanted to check those models out, and I'm gonna give a crack at painting." They might not play games, but they're like, I like the look of painting, and it seems like a fun thing to do. So I've gotten a couple people to at least paint models this way. Because painting is fun. I don't care what people say. Yeah, so I don't know about you, but when Jacob does his live streams for the Final Round Game Shop, I I always say stuff because they when you're on a live stream, you want people that are in there, you want them to chat. You don't just want to because it's like if you don't want to interact with the chat, why don't you just post a video, right? Why don't you just sit there and do whatever you're gonna do, and then just post a video, and people can consume that and watch it. If you're gonna do a live stream, you want people in the chat and you want to interact with them. It's to me that's the only thing that makes sense. So yeah, and especially some of these like sci-fi models, like these 40K models, are really ridiculous good quality. Plus, we got a new camera setup, so that's kind of made it really enjoyable to see some more of the detail on these models. I think we're kind of good there. Let's just put a little bit of a wash on that. Got two more. Slide these guys out of the way. So yeah, I'm gonna hold up two of these models just so like people who are coming back and watching this can really see the difference between it. But you look at this guy is not washed. He's kind of just got the basic paint on it. And then that guy right here is just kind of the wash sitting in. It pulled some of the detail out. Really starting to kind of come together. So if you paint and you don't wash your miniatures with an ink or, the Games Workshop washes obviously are really good, then I would definitely recommend it, especially for beginning painters. Just because it makes it, like when I first started painting, it was awful. You had to do everything pretty much by building up, highlighting, dry brushing, and this stuff came out where they started mass producing it, and it made painting a lot easier. A lot easier. So I definitely am a fan of it. Anything that can make painting faster, I think a lot of people are down for. Yeah, see, but I actually, and even when we stream while we're playing the game, I'll even have the chat still up. So I don't know exactly. I mean, maybe you can tell me because I don't consume Twitch content that much. So maybe you can tell me like how the chat is different from a YouTube channel versus the Twitch, because we still watch like right now. There's nobody. There's one on YouTube. I guess they're just kind of hanging out and lurking in the background, but they can still post and I can still see the comments, so I'll still respond to it. So I don't know quite the difference enough between the two platforms, personally. Maybe you can illuminate that for me. Because I do see a lot of people do it on Twitch, and that's something I could move to if there's enough pros that are better than YouTube. I don't know if I'd get more exposure on Twitch. I don't know if that's the benefit, maybe. Haven't done all my research on that yet. Of course, I think I do have a Twitch channel for the Rage Quit Wire, but I just think we haven't used it in a while. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I have seen people do painting stuff on Twitch, especially a lot of companies use that when they're painting on like live streams and stuff. So I have seen Twitches used for this, and I do know that your Twitch videos, you can set it up where they do upload to YouTube when you're done streaming. So maybe Twitch is better if I did this like several times a day, because then you can follow it and hang out. You can see what I'm streaming like for most of the day that I'm playing. I think that would also be a benefit of it. I don't know. Yeah, let's get a little bit more on that. One more guy. Yeah, I'll check it out because I'm always interested, because don't get me wrong, I think it'll be tough because YouTube and Twitches and all this stuff, live streaming is like a full-time job a lot of times. And don't get me wrong, I would love to do gaming stuff full-time. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of nerdy people out there who wouldn't. So, if for sometime in the future, if the podcast made enough money, or if we got enough views on YouTube to make enough money, or if a gaming company wanted to pick us up for something and they were like, hey, we're going to pay you full time, yada, 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 I would totally be down for that. And I'd stream all day if that's, what made money. So I would totally do that stuff. It's just a full-time job, and it's tough to justify that with my wife and kid, doing that. Whereas, obviously, if I got paid full time, I could do it. But yeah, because I think there's a lot of people that love consuming that content where it's like, hey, I like this. Because I have a couple streamers that I follow. I follow some Magic the Gathering content with obviously the Command Zone's a big one I follow. But Merchant's another one who does a lot of standard. I watch a lot of his content because I love his personality and the content that he puts out, the gameplays and the decks and stuff. So love to do that kind of stuff. It's like the dream, right? I actually like to do a lot of game design. I mean, I've been playing games long enough where I can see something when it's good and when it's bad. So I'd like to do a lot of board tabletop gaming design, maybe playtesting, something like that. So maybe I'll mention that on my podcast and be like, hey, by the way, if you're listening to this and you're a game company looking for some people that don't mind throwing hats in the rings. All right. All right. Anything else we need to do on him? He's looking pretty good. Got some on his boot. And get some more in there. Cool. And then a little bit on the gun. The grim, dark future. There is only war. 40K. All right, I think we're good there. Well, thanks for popping in, Herbert. It was good seeing you. Not staying on too much longer. I'm only going to stream for about an hour. Just wanted to show people what I was working on and kind of where we are. So thanks for coming on. If you ever get bored, we do have a lot of content for tabletop gaming for our Rage Quit Wire podcast. So do make sure you check out our Facebook, check out the YouTube, Twitter. We do a lot of different gaming. So, and of course, anything that you produce, I'd be interested to check out as well. All right, we found the orange. Good job. We can now paint these guys up. So put that there. All right, we want this little brush. Thanks, man. Appreciate anything. I'll move you really. Okay. I thought this paint pot was dried up. I'm like, if my son messed that up, I'm going to be a little bit mad. Because if you don't know painting, it can be definitely very frustrating when somebody leaves like your paint pot open and then you got to go back and try to doctor it up with some water. All right, let's try to get these followers done, and then we'll get the followers done besides the basing. All right. Kind of just fade this orange in, except for that area. We want to put a hard highlight on that. Okay, so we got this orange set up. So we really painted kind of the top folds of this. And we do want to smooth it out just because we do want it to look like a smooth blend and transition from this orange into the reds. There we go. Like I said, simple, but it looks good. And on the back, we don't have as many of the folds, but we want to hit these high points up with the orange. Then we just kind of want to dry brush it in to where we already have the reds. Okay. Good. So that's kind of what that banner is going to look like. Very simple. We'll come back with some whites here after we get done with these reds and oranges. Say Rangosh's followers are actually pretty interesting because they can do damage on their own, so they actually put out a decent amount of firepower. But Rangosh can also abuse them. He can actually make it where they are killed, and then when they're killed, he actually gets extra dice for like damage and accuracy. So it's pretty funny, but man, if you are a follower of Rangosh, you're also a little bit terrified. Okay, I think we're good with you there. Kind of got some Clemson colors going on with Rangosh. Anybody that's a Clemson fan? Live in South Carolina, so definitely see a lot of. This is not Clemson because it's orange and purple for Clemson, and I'm kind of doing more of a orange and blue. We're just highlighting these high points, orange, and then kind of smoothing them out a bit. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right, like I said, remember if you're just kind of joining the channel and stuff, we do a lot of speed painting on this channel as far as I go at least. So just showing kind of good, easy techniques to make your models look good on the table. Because I think a lot of times people focus too much on making things look perfect. Like even what I'm doing right now, this is something that you could just sit here and actually very easily just focus on highlighting and getting the edges just right. But we just want it to look good on the table. And we want Rangosh's followers to be bright orange. That way they know that they're going to die either way. For either Rangosh is going to use them, or they're going to die in battle. Alright. Okay, we need now some skin. There's my little brush. Alright, where's my skin tone? There it is. It's that Kislev flesh. Problem with some models this small is you can kind of see it in this person's face, which I'm not going to kind of go into, but a lot of the detail is kind of lost in that face. So I'm really not going to mess with it too much because I don't want to lose the detail in the face. So I'm just going to, I put a couple of hard lines on it. And now I'm just kind of going on into these other models. Because like I said, I don't want to lose all my detail. So what the heck was that sound? I bumped my head on the light above me. I was like, what the? Hey man, did you just throw a burrito out a window of your car? Oh, that's a pretty nasty raspberry you got there. What, are you high or something? Alright, I think we're good with the skin tone there. Maybe clean that up a little bit there. Okay. Some cool skin tone, just reapplying, blending it in with the darker skin tone. You got some. The old Kislev flesh. Alright. Skin tones can be a little difficult to do. Like right now I'm kind of just layering it, and the one I'm using is a lighter skin tone because it's from a group of people that live in like a wintry kind of condition. So this is something where I like that skin tone because I do like the lighter one, but if I wanted to darken it back up on certain areas, I definitely could. But like I said, especially on a lot of humans, I like the paler skin tones. A lot of elves, so I'll use the paler one. I might on the face kind of go back over with the darker tone on her, just to pull out some of those features again. Here, let's get this last person here. Okay, get close. No, it's kind of easy. You just got his face on there. All right, got a couple of basic colors, but then I'll kind of show you what we're looking at as far as the models go. Here in a minute, we're gonna paint these skulls up. Some water in there because cool. Got this a little wetter than I wanted to, but that'll be fine. Really like it. Like this banner is so simple. Like that's why I like these cloth banners, because they're so simple, but the effects you can get with cloth banners are just cool. Just getting these skulls on the bases. All right. All right, let's do kind of a quick look at them because we've been in it about an hour, and we'll just show you kind of what we're looking at as far as these followers, and obviously the bases all finish up, but you kind of see them. Definitely bright, definitely got some colors, some good contrast with the blues, silvers, and blacks. I'd go back, obviously touch up the hair a little bit and finish those up. Bases aren't done yet, but we're getting there. So, really cool models. Go really cool with their boss man Ringosh. You didn't see that. That's kind of what I've been working with Ringosh. So we're getting pretty close to done with those, and then these guys are settling in with their wash. We'll get the extra layers on them. I'll finish. I'm not going to touch either one of these. I'll finish them up tomorrow on stream. That way, anybody that wants to tune in and kind of see the finishing touches on both, you can definitely do that. And then we'll start up on Lorsan here in a minute, which I'll show Lorsan off real quick, just so you guys can see once I get, because that's not going to take me a long time to do those, and I'll stream for longer tomorrow. Well, technically today because it's past midnight. All right. So Lorsan's a pretty cool champion. She's this bowman. They ended up putting a really cool base on with her. So she's really cool. I really dig her a lot. I haven't cleaned up these mold lines yet, so I'll probably do that while I'm getting ready to go to bed here. This is her banner. It's this cool dream catcher kind of looking thing. Then she has a few elf archers with her. They got some really kind of cool dynamic poses. And then this is the last one. So really cool models. Like I said, I'm going to do an autumn theme with them. And we'll finish up Rangosh and his followers in the Plague Marines tomorrow. I also got to finish painting Plague Marines. So we got a lot in the queue. Like I said, when I showed people how to speed paint, you got to, when I have multiple games, which I do, I got to paint things at the same time. And you guys can see something else I'll show you. Also play Malifaux. So I even currently have Captain Zip and his keyword that I have assembled. So when you play a lot of games and you have a lot of different keywords, factions, Godtear champions, units, you just got to have a system. And mine is, okay, I'm going to paint these at the same time. I'm also assembling these. That way that next project is getting done and finished up. So just kind of keep that in mind as you guys are hobbying, that you just got to kind of multitask. You got to have something in the pipe, something you're working on, something you're finishing. That's usually what I do. So as you can see, I'm finishing up this Godtear stuff, finishing up these Plague Marines. In the pipe, I have these other Plague little zombie dudes. I have this Malifaux stuff, and just constantly building and moving on. So thanks for checking us out. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook. It's all Rage Quit Wire. Put a lot of content. We have a podcast for a lot of different tabletop games. So if you see anything you like, check us out. Yeah. And until next time, make sure that you guys roll